What if I told you that pulling over on a rainy highway could cost you your job the very next day? Sounds impossible, right? But that's exactly what happened to one man who made a split-second decision to help a stranger. And here's the twist. That stranger was watching when everything fell apart. What happened next? Well, let me just say that sometimes the universe has a funny way of keeping score. Before we dive deep into this incredible story, let me ask you something. When was the last time you stopped to help someone when it was truly inconvenient? When it actually cost you something? Keep that thought in your mind as I share what unfolded on one stormy night in Atlanta, because this story will make you rethink everything you know about kindness, karma, and what it means to do the right thing when nobody's watching. So picture this. Rain hammering down like the skies trying to punch holes through the earth itself. The kind of downpour that makes you question whether you should even be on the road. It's pushing 11 at night, and most sensible people are already home, tucked under blankets, maybe watching late-night television. But not everyone has that luxury, do they? There's a beat-up Ford pickup crawling along a suburban road outside Atlanta. The windshield wipers are working overtime, screeching back and forth like they're screaming for mercy. Behind the wheel sits a man in his early 30s, dark brown hands gripping that steering wheel like it's the only thing holding his world together. His name? Let's call him Terrell. And right now, Terrell's exhausted. The kind of bone-deep tired that settles into your soul when you've been running on empty for way too long. See, Terrell just finished a double shift at the diner where he works. A tour bus rolled in right before closing time, and you know how that goes. Suddenly you've got 40 hungry people who all want different things, and you're smiling through the pain because tips are tips, and every dollar counts when you're raising a kid on your own. His daughter, Maya, she's only 6 years old. Beautiful little girl with curly hair and the biggest smile you've ever seen. She's home right now with the neighbor, probably fast asleep, but Terrell needs to check. That's what single parents do. They worry. They check. They never really stop running, even when they're sitting still. 2 years. That's how long it's been since his wife passed away in a car accident. 2 years of being mom and dad rolled into one person. 2 years of bedtime stories and math homework and wiping away tears when Maya asks why mommy never comes home anymore. How do you even answer that question? You don't really. You just hold on tight and keep moving forward because stopping means falling apart, and you can't afford to fall apart when someone depends on you. So there's Terrell, driving through this nightmare of a storm, probably thinking about the bills stacked on his kitchen counter. Rent's due in a few days. The car's making weird noises again. Maya needs new shoes because kids grow like weeds, don't they? Always needing something right when you've got nothing left to give. That's the math of poverty right there. It doesn't add up, but somehow you make it work anyway. Now, through the sheets of rain, something catches his eye. Up ahead on the shoulder, there's a car. Not just any car, a sleek black sedan, the kind that probably costs more than Terrell makes in 2 years. The hood's popped open, and there's smoke or steam or something drifting up into the wet air. And standing next to it? An older gentleman, probably in his 60s, silver hair plastered to his skull, wearing what used to be a very expensive suit but now looks like he went swimming with his clothes on. This man's got no umbrella, no jacket, nothing. He's just standing there in the downpour, staring at his phone like he's willing it to conjure up a signal out of thin air. And here's where the story gets interesting. Because Terrell's got every reason in the world to keep driving. It's late. It's dangerous. He doesn't know this person. Maya's waiting at home. He's already exhausted. The logical part of his brain is screaming at him to just keep going. Mind your own business, get home safe. But then something happens. Maybe it's the way the old man's shoulders are shaking. Maybe it's the defeated slump in his posture. Or maybe, just maybe, Terrell's thinking about that night 2 years ago when his wife had her accident. Did anyone stop for her? Did anyone hold her hand? Did anyone tell her it was going to be okay, even if it wasn't? He'll never know the answer to that question, and it haunts him. Every single day, it haunts him. So Terrell does something that most people wouldn't do. He hits the brakes. The truck skids a little on the wet pavement, and he pulls over. He rolls down his window, letting in the cold, wet air and the smell of rain and motor oil. And he calls out, "You all right, sir?" The old man practically jumps out of his skin. He squints through the rain, and you can see it on his face. That mixture of hope and caution. Because in today's world, when a stranger offers help, you don't know if they're an angel or something else entirely. But desperation has a way of making decisions for us, doesn't it? My car just died, the old man says, and his voice is shaking, partly from cold, partly from stress. Can't get a tow truck on the phone. I think I'm lost. Now, Terrell takes a moment. He sizes up the situation. Expensive suit, quality shoes, even soaked through, you can tell this man comes from money. But right now he's just another human being stuck in a bad situation. Money can't fix everything, can it? Can't fix a dead battery or conjure up cell phone service in the middle of nowhere. Get in, Terrell says, and he means it. Few more minutes out here and you'll freeze to death. The old man hesitates. His name's Robert, by the way, though Terrell doesn't know that yet. And Robert's running through all the warnings his mother ever gave him about strangers. About trusting people you don't know. About how dangerous the world can be. But then another gust of icy wind cuts right through his wet clothes, and he makes a choice. Sometimes you've just got to trust in humanity, even when everything in the news tells you not to. Robert climbs into that beat-up truck, bringing a puddle of water with him. The heater's blasting, and compared to outside, it feels like heaven. His hands are shaking as he extends one toward Terrell. "Robert Chamberlain," he says. "And I can't thank you enough." "Terrell Brooks," comes the reply, and there's a handshake. Robert's hand is ice cold, but the grip is strong. Firm. The kind of handshake that says, "I'm grateful, and I won't forget this." As they pull back onto the road, there's this moment of silence. Not awkward silence, but the kind where two strangers are figuring each other out. The rain keeps hammering on the roof, creating this almost rhythmic sound. In the small space of that truck cabin, two completely different worlds are colliding. Robert, who probably has more money in his checking account than most people see in a lifetime, and Terrell, who's counting pennies to make rent. But right now they're just two guys sharing a ride in the rain. "Where were you headed?" Terrell asks, eyes on the road because this storm isn't letting up. "Business meeting," Robert says with a sigh. "Ran late. Thought I knew a shortcut. Turns out I didn't." GPS lies sometimes, Terrell offers with a small smile. Technology's great until it's not, right? They drive through these quiet suburban streets. Old houses with peeling paint. Apartment buildings that have seen better days. Street lights flickering like they might give up any second. This isn't where rich folks live. This is where people work two jobs and still struggle to pay the bills. Where communities stick together because they have to. Where kindness isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. Terrell pulls up in front of a 3-story apartment building. The paint's faded, the stairs creak, but it's home. "This is my place," he says. "No hotels nearby at this hour, not ones that'll be open anyway. You can stay the night. I'll help you sort out your car in the morning." Robert just stares at him. "Are you serious?" "Got a good couch," Terrell says simply. "Better than sitting in my truck till sunrise." Now think about this for a second. Terrell just invited a complete stranger into his home, where his 6-year-old daughter is sleeping. That's not just kindness, that's trust on a whole different level. It's the kind of thing that makes you question what you'd do in the same situation. Would you? Would you really? They head inside, dripping water all over the small entryway. The apartment's modest, to say the least. Living room and kitchen all in one space. One bedroom door closed where presumably little Maya's fast asleep. But everything's clean. Neat. There's love in this place. You can feel it. Photos on the wall showing a beautiful little girl with the most infectious smile. Building blocks scattered on the coffee table. A pink cup with a princess on it. "My daughter," Terrell explains when he notices Robert looking. "Maya. She's 6. Out cold in the bedroom." And Robert feels something shift inside him. This young man didn't just stop to help a stranger. He brought that stranger into his home, into the space where his child sleeps. That's a level of trust that Robert hasn't seen in years. Decades, maybe. In his world of business deals and contracts and everybody wanting something, genuine kindness is rarer than diamonds. Terrell hands him a towel. "Bathroom's there. I'll find you something dry to wear." 20 minutes later, Robert's sitting on a couch wearing clothes that are way too big for him. Athletic gear, soft from 1,000 washes. And in his hands is a bowl of soup, nothing fancy, just instant ramen with some vegetables thrown in. But it's hot and it's food, and right now it tastes better than any five-star meal he's had in months. Terrell sits in a worn armchair nearby, his own bowl in hand. He looks exhausted, the kind of tired that sleep doesn't fix because it's not about rest. It's about life. But he's here, sharing his food, his space, his time. I really appreciate this, Robert says, and he means every word. Not everyone would do what you just did. Terrell shrugs. Just doing what's right. But not everyone does what's right, Robert points out. Especially these days. There's a pause. The rain's softer now, just a gentle patter against the windows. What do you do, Terrell? Robert asks. Waiter at a diner, Terrell replies. Been there 4 years. It's not glamorous, but it pays the bills. Mostly. Lets me be there for Maya, that's what matters. And your wife. Terrell's eyes dim a little. Car accident. 2 years ago. Been just me and Maya since then. Robert feels his chest tighten. Here's this young man who lost his wife, raising a child alone, working for every dollar, and he still stopped to help someone in the rain. Still invited him home. Still shared his food. That kind of character? You can't buy that. Can't fake it. It just is. They talk for a while longer. Small things, big things, everything in between. Robert mentions he's in business, owns some companies, had a meeting about a new deal. But he doesn't name drop or brag. Tonight, titles don't matter. Terrell tells him about Maya learning to read, about how she asks questions about her mother that he doesn't know how to answer. About the daily struggle of being everything for someone who deserves the world. By 1 a.m, exhaustion is winning. Terrell gets up, grabs a blanket. You should rest. Big day tomorrow figuring out your car. Terrell, Robert says softly. Thank you. Not just for the ride or the couch. For reminding me that good people still exist. And Terrell nods, something warm in his eyes, despite the tiredness. Sleep well, Mr. Chamberlain. When Terrell wakes at 5 a.m, because that's what parents do, they wake up before the sun, the couch is empty. The blanket's neatly folded. And on the coffee table there's a note in careful handwriting. Terrell, thank you for treating me like a human being, not a burden or a threat. Last night you reminded me of values I'd nearly forgotten. I won't forget this kindness. Robert Chamberlain. Terrell smiles, tucks the note in his pocket, and goes to wake up Maya for school. He figures that's the end of it. A good deed done, a memory made. Life goes on. He has no idea that in less than 24 hours, everything's about to change in ways he can't possibly imagine. Because here's the thing about kindness. You do it without expecting anything back. But sometimes, just sometimes, the universe is keeping track. Now, the next morning starts wrong and just keeps getting worse. You ever have one of those days where everything that can go wrong does? Where it feels like the world woke up and decided to test exactly how much you can handle. That's the kind of morning Terrell's facing. Maya wakes up coughing. Not terrible, but enough to make Terrell worry. He touches her forehead, warm, but not fever warm. And Maya insists she's fine because there's an art test at school today. She's been practicing drawing horses all week. Daddy, I can draw it really good now, she says, her eyes all bright and excited. I can't miss it. What do you do in that moment? Your kid's a little sick but wants to go to school. You've got work. You've got bills. You can't afford to miss a shift. So you make the call, hoping it's the right one. Okay, sweetie. But if you feel worse, you tell your teacher, deal? After dropping Maya at the neighbor's house, wonderful woman named Mrs. Patterson, who helps watch Maya every morning before the school bus comes, Terrell heads for work. And that's when the truck decides to join the rebellion. It sputters, coughs, dies right there in the middle of the road. No, Terrell's practically begging the dashboard. Not today. Please not today. 15 minutes of coaxing and praying later, the engine finally turns over. But now Terrell's late. Really late. And in the service industry, late is basically a sin. Doesn't matter what the reason is. He bursts through the diner door at 7:05. 10 minutes past his start time. His shirt's damp from the morning drizzle, his hair's a mess, and he's breathing hard from running from the parking lot. The door chime rings out, and suddenly every single person in that diner turns to look at him. Customers mid-bite. The cook frozen at the stove. It's like someone hit pause on the whole scene. And there, standing behind the register like an executioner waiting for the condemned, is Derek Matthews, the manager. Now, Derek's one of those guys who peaked in high school and never quite got over it. Always wearing suits that are a little too shiny, hair slicked back with enough product to waterproof a boat, and this expression like he's constantly smelling something bad. He runs the diner like it's his personal kingdom, and he's the kind of manager who measures his own worth by how much he can make other people feel small. Brooks. Derek's voice cuts through the silence like a knife, loud enough for everyone to hear. Do you own a watch? Terrell's trying to catch his breath. I'm sorry, Mr. Matthews. My car broke down and I don't care, Derek interrupts, stepping out from behind the counter. His shoes click against the tile floor with each step, and it sounds like a countdown. You think your time is more valuable than our customers' time? No, sir, but what? Derek holds up a hand, his voice getting louder. A few customers at nearby tables are starting to look uncomfortable. You're late. That's the only fact that matters here. Now here's what you need to understand. Terrell's worked at this diner for 4 years. 4 years of showing up on time, working doubles when asked, covering shifts for sick coworkers. 4 years of smiling at rude customers, of staying late to clean, of never complaining. And this is his first time being late. His first time in 4 years. But does that matter to Derek? What do you think? Mr. Matthews. Terrell's trying to stay calm, trying to keep his dignity. I'm really sorry. Last night I helped someone who was stranded. Brought him home because... Oh, that's wonderful. Derek's voice drips with sarcasm. So you're a hero now. How admirable. But you know what's not admirable? Abandoning your job for some touching story. The cook, Tommy, is standing by the stove still holding a spatula, but he's not moving. Lisa, the other waitress, is pressed into a corner looking terrified. Nobody's saying anything. Nobody's stepping in. Because that's what happens, isn't it? When someone's being cruel publicly, people freeze. They don't want to be the next target. I didn't abandon anything, Terrell says quietly. I was only 10 minutes. 10 minutes, Derek cuts him off again, where we had 3 tables waiting. Where Lisa had to handle everything alone. And where were you? Playing Good Samaritan. An elderly woman at a corner table whispers to her companion. Poor young man. But she doesn't speak up. Nobody does. Derek grabs a paper from behind the counter. You know what today is, Brooks? Terrell shakes his head, and dread is building in his stomach like a stone. Today, Derek says, letting each word hang in the air, the actual owner of this diner is visiting. For the first time since he bought the place last year. I need everything perfect. And you think I'm going to let some chronically late, irresponsible employee ruin my first impression? Mr. Matthews, please. There's something breaking in Terrell's voice now. 4 years. I've been here 4 years. Never skipped a shift without notice. Never complained. This is my first time. First time is also the last time, Derek says coldly. He points to the apron hanging on the wall. Take it off. You're fired. The words hit like a physical blow. The whole diner goes silent. Even the sizzle from the kitchen stops. All you can hear is Terrell's breathing and the pounding of his heart. You can't. I can, and I already did. Derek turns his back dismissively. Hand over the apron and get out. Terrell's hands are shaking as he unties that apron. 4 years of his life in a piece of fabric. 4 years of smiling through exhaustion, of late nights and early mornings, of trying to provide for his daughter. All of it ending in front of a room full of strangers because he was 10 minutes late after helping someone in the rain. He lays the apron on the counter, trying so hard to keep it together. I hope you find someone good, he manages to say. Here's some advice, Brooks, Derek says with this fake sympathetic tone. Next time, care more about your job than about playing hero. Terrell doesn't respond. Can't respond. He walks toward the door, and each step feels like he's carrying 100 pounds. A few customers look at him with pity. Others quickly look away because watching someone's dignity get stripped away is uncomfortable, isn't it? Makes you feel complicit somehow. Lisa's standing in the corner with tears in her eyes, but she's too scared to speak. Tommy's gripping that spatula so tight his knuckles are white, but he stays silent too. The door chime rings as Terrell steps outside. The morning drizzle hits his face, mixing with something else. Tears maybe. He's not sure. Atlanta's Monday morning sky is gray and miserable, matching exactly how he feels inside. Terrell stands on the sidewalk, looking back through that glass window. He can see Derek laughing, saying something to Tommy, looking pleased with himself like firing someone just proved how powerful he is. And Terrell wipes his face, rain, tears, probably both, and starts walking. His mind's already spiraling. How's he going to pay rent? What's Maya going to eat next week? Her shoes are too small. The electricity bill is due. The car barely runs. And now he's got nothing. Just helped a stranger last night, and this is what he gets for it. Cosmic joke, right? He doesn't notice the black sedan parked across the street. Doesn't see the man sitting inside, watching everything unfold. Robert Chamberlain's hands are gripping the steering wheel, so tight his knuckles are white. His jaw is clenched. He watched the whole thing. Watched how Derek humiliated Terrell. Watched how nobody defended him. Watched a good man get broken for being kind. Robert looks up at the diner's sign. Riverbend Diner, he reads aloud. And then he smiles. But it's not a warm smile. It's the kind of smile that means somebody's about to learn a very expensive lesson. So this is where you work, Robert murmurs to himself. And this is how they treat you. He checks his watch. In a few hours, he's supposed to make his first visit to this diner as the owner. Supposed to see how management runs things. Well, he just saw exactly how management runs things, didn't he? And now Derek Matthews is about to find out what happens when you humiliate the wrong person. Robert picks up his phone and makes a call. James, I need you at Riverbend Diner. Immediately. Bring recording equipment. I want to know everything about Derek Matthews. Everything. He ends the call and looks back at the diner one more time. You saved me last night, Terrell, he says quietly. Now it's my turn. And with that, Robert Chamberlain steps out of his car, straightens his tie, and prepares to walk into that diner. The show, as they say, is about to begin. Now, at 12:30 that afternoon, the door to Riverbend Diner opens and Robert Chamberlain walks in. Midday sunlight is streaming through the windows, making everything look almost cheerful. The smell of coffee and bacon fills the air. The diner's busy with the lunch crowd. Office workers, truck drivers, students, all chatting away, completely unaware that they're about to witness something extraordinary. Robert's not someone who blends in. He's tall, silver hair perfectly combed, wearing a charcoal suit that probably costs more than most people's monthly rent. He walks with this quiet confidence, the kind that doesn't need to announce itself. And when he enters, something shifts in the atmosphere. People just sense when someone important walks into a room. You know what I mean? Derek Matthews, who's been checking receipts behind the register, looks up, and his eyes practically light up like a kid on Christmas morning. This is the owner. The man whose opinion could make or break his career. Time to put on a show. Mr. Chamberlain. Derek rushes over with this massive smile plastered on his face. Welcome to Riverbend Diner. Such an honor to have you here. Robert gives a small nod but doesn't smile back. His eyes are moving around the diner, taking in every detail. The way Tommy's working the grill. How Lisa's serving tables. Every corner, every surface, like he's cataloging everything. Everything looks clean, Robert says calmly. Busy. Good. Yes, sir. Derek's practically bouncing. We always maintain the highest standards here. Efficient, professional. No mistakes. Zero tolerance for problems. No mistakes, Robert repeats, letting the words hang there. Interesting choice of words. Derek doesn't catch the edge in Robert's tone. He's too busy congratulating himself. Yes, sir. I run a tight ship. Don't let anyone damage your reputation. Robert walks slowly to the counter, running his fingers along the chrome surface. Speaking of that, he says casually, I heard someone got fired this morning. Derek stiffens for just a second, then recovers. Yes. Terrell Brooks. Chronic lateness problem. Can't let someone like that ruin the diner's image, especially not on the day you're visiting, sir. How late was he? Robert asks, his voice still calm, but there's something underneath now. Something sharp. 10 minutes, sir. But in business, time is. I know what time is, Robert interrupts, and now his voice has gone cold. How long had he worked here? Derek hesitates. 4 years, sir. 4 years, Robert repeats slowly. And this was his first time being late? Well, not exactly. I mean, there might have been. Yes or no? Robert's looking directly at him now. Derek swallows hard. All right, maybe it was his first major. Yes or no? Yes, Derek admits, and you can hear his voice shaking a little. But rules are rules, sir. Can't make exceptions. Robert nods slowly, then walks around the diner. He stops at the kitchen where Tommy's working. You're the cook. Tommy Rivers, this big guy with a beard and hands that show years of hard work, nods. Yes, sir. Tommy Rivers. Terrell Brooks, Robert says. You know him. Tommy glances at Derek, then back at Robert. Yes, sir. Terrell's the best person we have here. Derek jumps in quickly. Tommy's exaggerating, sir. Terrell was just. I'm talking to Tommy, Robert says firmly. Derek shuts up immediately. Tommy continues. Terrell never complains. Always shows up. Always on time. Treats customers better than anyone. Always has a smile even when he's dead tired. This morning wasn't fair to him. Not fair at all. Not fair. Derek's voice rises. Tommy, you better watch what you. That's enough, Robert says, not loudly but with enough weight that Derek's mouth snaps shut like a trap. He turns to Lisa, who's been watching from the corner. And you? What do you think of Terrell Brooks? Lisa, young woman with her hair tied back, eyes red like she's been crying, looks down at her feet. Terrell's the best person I've ever worked with, she says quietly. He taught me everything when I started. Always protected me when customers got rude. Always, her voice breaks. Derek tries again. Sir, everything they're saying is just emotional. Call Terrell Brooks back, Robert says suddenly. Derek's mouth falls open. Sir, call Terrell Brooks, Robert repeats, each word deliberate. Right now. But sir, I just fired him. I can't just. Can't. Robert's voice could cut glass now. Are you telling me you can't do what I'm asking you to do? Derek's sweating. You can see it beating on his forehead. No, sir. I mean, yes, sir. I'll call him. Right away. Meanwhile, Terrell's sitting in his truck in some parking lot, hands shaking, staring at his phone. He just called Mrs. Patterson, told her he might be late picking up Maya because he needs to find work. Fast. And this wonderful woman says it's fine, don't worry. But Terrell is worrying. He's worrying about everything. His phone rings. Unknown number. Hello. Terrell Brooks. It's Derek's voice, but it sounds different. Anxious. Scared even. Yeah. You need to come back to the diner. Right now. Terrell frowns. You just fired me. I know, but something important came up. Please. Just come back. What is this? You'll see when you get here. Please. And Derek hangs up. Terrell stares at his phone like it just spoke a foreign language. Is this some kind of sick joke? Does Derek want to humiliate him again? But there was something in Derek's voice. Not arrogance. Fear. Terrell starts the truck. He's got nothing left to lose anyway. 15 minutes later, he's standing outside Riverbend Diner. His heart's pounding. His hands on the door handle. He takes a deep breath and pushes it open. The chime rings. Everyone looks up. Terrell walks in, confused, looking around at all the tense faces. Derek looks pale. Tommy looks hopeful. Lisa's crying again. And then Terrell sees him. Robert Chamberlain. The old man from last night. Except he's not the helpless, stranded stranger anymore. He's standing there in an expensive suit, looking like he owns the place. Because, well, he does. Mr. Chamberlain? Terrell's voice comes out barely above a whisper. What are you doing here? Robert smiles gently and steps forward. Thank you for coming back, Terrell. I don't understand. Robert turns to address the entire diner. His voice carries clear and strong. Let me introduce myself to everyone here. My name is Robert Chamberlain. I'm the owner of Riverbend Diner. You can hear the gasps. Customers stop eating. Lisa's hand goes to her mouth. Tommy drops a spatula in the kitchen. And Terrell? His head is spinning. You're the owner? That's right, Robert nods. And last night, you rescued me when I was stranded in the rain. You didn't know who I was. Didn't care if I was rich or poor. You just saw someone who needed help. Robert turns toward Derek, and his eyes have gone ice cold. And this morning you fired that man because he was 10 minutes late. 10 minutes late because he spent the night helping a stranger. Derek's face has gone white as paper. Sir, I didn't know. If I'd known it was you he helped. If you'd known. Robert's voice cuts like a blade. That's exactly the problem, Mr. Matthews. You only respect people with power, not people who deserve respect. Derek opens his mouth but nothing comes out. Robert steps beside Terrell and puts a hand on his shoulder. Terrell Brooks, you reminded me last night of something I'd forgotten. Genuine kindness. Unconditional decency. Human compassion. Things that matter more than any balance sheet. He turns to face the entire diner. Customers are frozen, forks halfway to mouths. Therefore, I'm making this decision publicly. Terrell Brooks is reinstated immediately. Furthermore, starting today, he's co-manager of Riverbend Diner. Silence. Complete silence for maybe 3 seconds. Then Tommy starts clapping. Lisa joins in. Then customers. The applause builds and builds, filling that diner with warmth and genuine joy. It's not polite applause. It's the sound of people celebrating justice. Terrell's standing there in complete shock. His eyes are stinging. Sir, I don't know what to say. You don't need to say anything, Robert smiles. You did what was right. I'm just returning the favor. Derek's still standing there frozen. And what about me, sir? Robert looks at him for a long moment. You'll remain as manager. But from now on, you learn to respect people. Not just numbers. Not just titles. People. And if you ever repeat what you did today. He lets the sentence hang, but the message is crystal clear. Derek bows his head. Yes, sir. I understand. And just like that, everything changes. In one moment, Terrell went from unemployed and desperate to co-manager. From broken to blessed. From victim to victor. And all because he stopped to help someone in the rain. That's the thing about kindness, isn't it? You never know who you're helping. You never know what ripples your actions will create. Terrell didn't help Robert expecting anything. He helped because that's who he is. And sometimes, just sometimes, the universe pays attention. Now let's fast forward a few weeks. Things at Riverbend Diner have changed in ways both obvious and subtle. Terrell's sitting in the small office behind the kitchen, the one that used to be Derek's exclusive domain. There's an old wooden desk, a computer that's seen better days, file cabinets full of receipts and records. Terrell never imagined he'd be sitting here, not as someone called in to be disciplined, but as someone making decisions. But with that authority comes weight. Real responsibility. And right now, that weight feels heavy as he flips through financial reports. Something's not adding up. Some expenses have spiked over the past 3 months without clear explanation. Supply costs are higher than they should be. Cash transactions aren't fully recorded. Line items that don't quite make sense. Terrell frowns, making notes in a small notebook. Could be accounting errors. Could be sloppiness. Could be something else entirely. Busy. A voice makes him look up. Derek's leaning against the doorframe, arms crossed, wearing this strange smile. Ever since Robert's announcement, Derek's been different. He doesn't yell anymore. Doesn't throw his weight around. But there's this cold silence about him now that's somehow worse than the anger. Like he's calculating something. Just reviewing reports, Terrell says, closing the notebook. You need something? Staff meeting at 3. Derek replies flatly. Robert's joining by video call. Got it. Thanks. Derek doesn't leave right away. He stands there for a few more seconds, eyes hard, unreadable. Then finally turns and walks away. And Terrell feels this uneasy knot forming in his stomach. Something's off. He can feel it. That evening, Terrell gets home earlier than usual. Maya's on the couch with her coloring book, curly hair pulled into 2 puffs with bright-colored beads that click when she moves her head. Daddy! She launches herself at him, wrapping around his legs. Hey, baby girl. Terrell scoops her up, breathing in that familiar scent of kid shampoo and cocoa butter lotion. How was school? Great. I got an A on my art test. She's bouncing with excitement. Look, it's on the fridge. They walk to the refrigerator where her drawing is held up with a magnet. It's a picture of three people, a tall figure with brown skin, a little girl with curly hair, and beside them, slightly faded, another figure with the words "Mom in Heaven" written in a child's careful handwriting. Terrell's throat tightens. 2 years gone. But Maya still thinks about her mother every single day. Still includes her in every family drawing. Still talks to her before bed sometimes. "It's beautiful, honey," Terrell manages, keeping his voice steady. "Daddy." Maya looks at him with those clear brown eyes that see too much. "Are you happy?" The question catches him off guard. "Why do you ask that?" "Because you look really tired. You stay up late every night. I hear you sighing a lot. Kids notice everything, don't they? You think you're protecting them, hiding your stress, but they pick up on every little thing." Terrell sits down and pulls Maya onto his lap so they're eye level. "As long as I have you, I'm happy. But are you sad sometimes?" He pauses, then decides on honesty. "Yeah, sometimes I'm sad. But every time I look at you, I feel strong again." Maya wraps her little arms around his neck. Daddy's the best person in the whole world. In that small apartment, holding his daughter tight, Terrell feels like maybe, just maybe, everything's going to be okay. He doesn't know that at that exact moment, Derek's sitting in the diner parking lot, staring through dark windows, a plan forming in his mind. A plan that's about to make everything much more complicated. Wednesday morning, Terrell arrives early as always. He opens the cash register to do the daily count, something Robert asked both managers to do together for transparency. But as he counts, he stops. Counts again. And again. Money's missing. Exactly $150. Something wrong. Lisa walks over with a tray of coffee cups, noticing the look on his face. "Money's missing," Terrell says quietly. "150. Lisa frowns. Maybe someone made change wrong last night? Maybe. But Terrell's not convinced. "Did you notice anything strange yesterday?" "No, everything seemed normal." Lisa thinks for a moment. But Derek stayed late after I left. Said he had reports to finish." Terrell makes a mental note. He doesn't want to jump to conclusions, but something's definitely wrong. "I'm going to check the security cameras. Don't mention this to anyone yet, okay?" "Okay." Lisa agrees, worry clear on her face. Up in the office, Terrell pulls up the surveillance system. 3 cameras cover the register, kitchen, and entrance. He rewinds to the previous night, starting around 10 when the diner closed. 10:15, Lisa and Tommy finish cleaning. Leave one by one. 10:30, only Derek remains. 10:45, Derek walks to the register. Opens it. Pulls out a stack of bills. Counts them. Then stuffs them straight into his jacket pocket. Terrell stops the video. His heart's pounding. Derek's stealing. Right there on camera, clear as day. But Terrell knows one incident isn't enough. Derek could claim it was a mistake, that he was going to record it. Terrell needs more evidence. A pattern. He picks up his phone and steps outside to the parking lot where nobody can overhear. "Robert? I need to talk to you. It's urgent." "What's going on?" "Money's missing from the register. And I have video of Derek taking it." Silence on the other end. Then Robert exhales slowly. "Are you certain?" "Watched it 3 times. It's him." "Don't do anything yet," Robert says firmly. "Don't confront him. Don't tell anyone. I'm sending someone to investigate." "And Terrell?" "Yeah. Be careful. If Derek knows you're onto him, he might do something desperate." The call ends. Terrell stands in the cold Atlanta morning air, fog swirling around him, feeling like he's stepped into something much bigger and darker than he expected. 2 days later, a man walks into the diner mid-morning. Tall, short hair, leather jacket, jeans. Looks like any regular customer. But the way he watches everything, the sharp eyes, the careful observations, noting every detail, makes it clear he's anything but regular. His name's James Porter. Private investigator. Robert's guy. Terrell knows he's there, but nobody else does. Not even Derek. James orders coffee and a sandwich, sits in a corner booth and watches. Watches how Derek moves. How often he touches the register. How he interacts with staff. The tiny camera hidden in his jacket records everything. He comes back that evening, sits at a different table, watches more, and over the next few days, he builds a case. Video after video. Derek opening the register, taking money, altering records. Not once. 8 times over 3 months. Friday evening, Robert arranges to meet Terrell at a nearby cafe. James is there too, laptop open. We've got enough, James says, pulling up files. Videos. Still images. Derek at the register. Money disappearing. Numbers being changed. Total amount stolen is over $3,000. Terrell lets out a long breath. Anger mixed with disappointment. His salary isn't low. Why would he do this? Robert shakes his head. Not everyone steals because they need money. Some do it for greed. Some for the feeling of control. When you became co-manager, Derek lost power. This was his way of taking it back. What do we do now? Terrell asks. We confront him, Robert says. But not privately. In front of everyone. I've already contacted the police. Terrell swallows hard. When? Monday morning. I'll fly to Atlanta. We're ending this. The weekend passes under this tight, stretched silence. Terrell keeps working as normal, forcing himself to act like nothing's changed so Derek won't get suspicious. But every time he sees Derek's fake smile, every time Derek acts like he owns the place, anger burns inside him. Sunday night, Terrell can't sleep. He's lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, mind running through scenarios. How will Derek react? Will he confess? Deny everything? Try to blame Terrell? A soft knock on his bedroom door. Dad, come in, sweetie. Maya shuffles in, clutching her teddy bear, and climbs into bed beside him. Can't sleep. Me neither, Terrell admits. You worried about work? Yeah, a little. Maya's quiet for a moment. Then, Mom used to say that when you're worried, you should look at the stars and remember she's watching over you. Terrell's chest tightens. She said that. She's watching you too, isn't she? Terrell pulls his daughter close. Yeah, baby. I'm sure she is. They lie there together until Maya drifts off, teddy bear tucked under her chin. And Terrell whispers into the darkness, Landa, are you seeing this? I'm trying to do the right thing. For Maya. For our family. And in that darkness, there's this delicate sense of peace. Like someone's gently touching his shoulder saying, keep going. You've got this. Monday morning arrives. The diner opens like any other day. Customers come in, order breakfast, chat over coffee. Nobody knows that in a few hours, everything's about to explode. Terrell arrives at 6:30, earlier than usual. In his pocket is a USB drive with all the evidence. Robert will be there at 9. Police at 9:30. Derek shows up at 7, cheerful as ever, completely unaware. He greets Terrell, makes small talk, goes into the office like it's just another Monday. Tommy and Lisa arrive next. Tommy takes one look at Terrell's face and knows something's up. You okay? Will be, Terrell says quietly. Today's going to be long though. 8:45. Robert Chamberlain walks through the door in a gray suit, expression serious. James Porter beside him carrying a briefcase. Derek practically jumps when he sees them. Mr. Chamberlain. I didn't know you were coming today. I didn't announce it, Robert replies coldly. Terrell, get all the staff out here now. 5 minutes later, everyone's gathered. Tommy, Lisa, 2 part-timers. Customers in the diner sense the heavy atmosphere. Stop eating, turn to watch. Robert stands in the center. Terrell beside him. Derek facing them, his face gradually draining of color. I'm here today, Robert begins, his voice carrying through the diner, to address a serious matter. For the past 3 months, this diner has been losing cash in mysterious ways. At first we thought accounting errors. But after investigation, we discovered this isn't an error. Derek's swallowing hard. Sir, what are you saying? I'm accusing you, Derek Matthews, Robert says clearly. You've embezzled over $3,000 from this diner. The air freezes. Lisa gasps. Tommy goes rigid. Customers start whispering. That's slander. Derek shouts. I would never. James. Robert nods. James opens his laptop, turns the screen toward everyone. Video plays. Derek at the register. taking money, putting it in his pocket. Then another clip. Then another. Crystal clear. Undeniable. Derek's sweating now. That's fake. Terrell set me up to get rid of me. Set you up. Robert's voice could cut stone. Then explain these bills. He holds up an evidence bag with marked bills. We marked money in the register last week. You took them. Your fingerprints are all over them. We also checked your bank records, James adds. Cash deposits that don't match your reported income. You tried to hide it. Didn't work. Derek whips around to glare at Terrell, hatred blazing in his eyes. This is all because of you. Before you showed up, I was the only manager. Then he promotes some nobody waiter, and I lose everything. So that means it's okay to steal from me? Terrell asks, voice calm but hurt. I respected you. Never wanted to replace you. But you chose this path yourself. The diner door opens. 2 police officers step inside. Derek Matthews, one calls out. Derek turns, sees them, and it's like all the strength drains from his body. Shoulders slump. Face crumples. You're under arrest for theft and falsifying financial records, the officer says, pulling out handcuffs. The metallic click echoes through the silent diner as the cuffs lock around Derek's wrists. He looks at Terrell one last time. You think you've won, don't you? You're just some lucky guy. Without Robert, you're nothing. Terrell looks him straight in the eyes. Maybe you're right. But I don't need power to be a decent person. And that's something you never understood. Derek's led outside. The door chime rings softly as it closes. This time for good. Inside, nobody moves for a few seconds. Then Tommy starts clapping. Lisa joins. Customers follow. The applause builds, not performative, but genuine. The sound of justice being served. Robert steps beside Terrell, hand on his shoulder. You did the right thing. Takes courage to face the truth. Thank you, Robert, Terrell says, voice thick with emotion. For everything. No, Robert shakes his head. Thank you. You reminded me what actually matters. They shake hands. Not owner and employee. Not rich man and poor man. Just 2 people who chose what's right over what's easy. Spring comes to Atlanta. Cherry blossoms bloom in the parks. Trees soften into gentle colors. And Riverbend Diner? It's transformed into something beautiful. Outside, there's a new sign, Riverbend Diner, where kindness is served. Inside, the space has been renovated. Brighter. Warmer. Photos on the walls showing staff and customers, smiling faces, everyday moments full of meaning. Terrell stands behind the counter in a clean shirt and neat slacks, hair trimmed sharp, eyes no longer carrying that exhausted weight. Maya's at a better school now, one that encourages her art. Lisa's the shift supervisor, training new staff with confidence. Tommy's got an assistant in the kitchen, finally able to breathe. That evening, Robert stops by like he often does. Sits at his usual table, orders coffee and a sandwich. Terrell brings it out himself, sits across from him. Revenue's up 40% from 6 months ago, Terrell reports. More regulars returning. Lots of new 5-star reviews online. Robert smiles. I know. But more importantly, are people happy? Terrell looks around. Lisa's laughing with customers. Tommy's whistling in the kitchen. Maya's in the corner drawing another picture, her curly puffs bouncing as she works. Yeah, Terrell says softly. Everyone's much happier. Then that's what matters, Robert replies. They sit quietly, sipping coffee, listening to the gentle hum of the city outside. Robert, Terrell speaks up. Can I ask you something? That night in the rain, did you know I worked here? Robert shakes his head. No. I only knew you were a good person who stopped to help. Finding out you worked here was pure coincidence. Coincidence? Terrell smiles. Or fate. Maybe both, Robert says. But I believe when people do kind things, the universe finds ways to return it. Few weeks later, Terrell's standing outside the diner on a rainy evening. Just drizzling now, soft patter against the pavement. An old car sputters and dies on the roadside. An older man gets out, confused, looking around. His phone shows no signal. Terrell doesn't hesitate. Steps out from under the awning, walks toward him. Need some help, sir? The man turns, startled. My car just died. I don't know what to do. Terrell smiles. Get in my truck. I'll drive you somewhere safe. As they drive through the rain, Terrell remembers Robert's words. Kindness doesn't need a reason. It just needs to be done. 6 months later, a small article appears in a local newspaper. Small diner, big philosophy. Riverbend Diner becomes community symbol. Located in the heart of Atlanta, Riverbend Diner isn't just about good food. It's about kindness. Run by Terrell Brooks and Robert Chamberlain, the diner has become a place people visit not just to eat, but to feel community warmth. When asked about the secret to success, Brooks simply replied, "We treat people as human beings, not just customers." That's it. And on another rainy night on another road, someone else stops their car to help a stranger. The circle of kindness keeps turning. The story of Terrell and Robert isn't just about a single father being saved from the edge. It's about how one small act of compassion can transform entire lives. Not just for those who receive it, but for those who give it. In a world growing colder and faster, where people forget that humans need humans, where kindness gets mistaken for weakness, this story reminds us it's actually strength. Terrell showed Robert the human side behind numbers. Robert gave Terrell a second chance. Together they created a place where kindness isn't exploited but honored. That place is Riverbend Diner. But it could also be anywhere. It could be your story too. So here's my question for you, and I want you to really think about this. When was the last time you stopped to help someone when it truly cost you something? When it was actually inconvenient? When there was real risk involved? Because that's where true kindness lives. Not in the easy moments, but in the hard ones. Terrell stopped in the rain when he had every reason not to. He was tired. His daughter was waiting. He didn't know Robert. But he stopped anyway. And that choice, that single decision made in a split second on a dark rainy highway, changed everything. For both of them. And here's the beautiful thing about kindness. You never know what ripples it creates. You never know whose life you might change. Terrell didn't help Robert expecting anything back. He helped because that's who he is at his core. A decent person. And sometimes, just sometimes, the universe is paying attention. If you've been with me for this entire story, thank you. Genuinely, thank you for spending your time hearing about Terrell and Robert. Stories like these matter because they remind us what we're capable of. They remind us that good people still exist. That kindness still matters. That doing the right thing, even when nobody's watching, even when it costs you something, is always worth it. So if this story touched something in you, if it made you think about your own choices, your own moments of kindness or times you walked past someone who needed help, then don't leave quietly. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss more stories like this. Give this video a like if it resonated with you. And most importantly, share it. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. Someone who's forgotten that good people exist. Someone who's lost faith in humanity and needs a reminder. Because that's how we change the world, isn't it? One story at a time. One act of kindness at a time. One person choosing to stop in the rain when they have every reason to keep driving. Terrell stopped. Robert remembered. And their lives intersected in a way that created something beautiful. Your story could be next. The person you help today could be the one who changes your tomorrow. Or maybe they won't. Maybe you'll never see them again. But you'll know you did the right thing. And sometimes that's enough. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. And remember, the next time it's raining and you see someone stranded on the side of the road, maybe, just maybe, be the Terrell in someone else's story. The world needs more people like that. See you in the next one.